A season like no other! Falkirk have went through the whole league campaign and not lost once! Unbelievable! Phenomenal! Incredible! Invincible!
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall.
Into the box, it's Adams! And McKeever scores! Agyeman lets it run, might have a chance of a shot. It's Agyeman! Oh, what a goal from Alfredo Agyeman!
Still alive, Dylan Tate tries to bend one,
And it's a wonderful goal! Arfield! Oh, he's back! The king is back! Scott Arfield! On his Falkirk return!
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall. We're navy blue. Are you?
Saturday night, and I like the way you move.
SCOTTY ARFIELD.
I have learned to dance to that. What a day it was yesterday. The return of Scott Arfield to the Falkirk Stadium, and we are here for it. Welcome to Falkirk Daft. I'm John McInally. Welcome to the Ginger God of Pod himself. The main one-man band in the main stand. Though I don't know if you were just the one man yesterday, Ross. It's Ross Wayne, everyone.
Good evening, sir. Yes, it was brilliant atmosphere at the ground yesterday. The main stand was rocking as well.
I know, unbelievable, isn't it? But what a day! What a day! We're going to get into the game and obviously talk about that. But I don't think there's been a better debut for. I don't think there's been a better debut for Falkirk than Scotty returning. Chris Waddle's the only one I could think of that came close to it when he debuted against Clydebank and scored that goal. That's the only one I can think of that was at that kind of level. But it's a great shout. It's
a brilliant shout. Do you remember? I remember another brilliant debut. This is going right back to the late 90s, I think it was. Do you remember there was a striker called Stephen Craig? And he scored a double against
Livingston. Was it? Livingston? No, he ended up at Livingston. But it was against Livingston, though, wasn't it? Am I right in saying that?
Livingston, yeah. But I thought that was fantastic yesterday. It was so emotional. It was the Scott Arfield day because it was a brilliant team performance, and we're going to go through it. I know we will, but just that was such an emotional moment when he
scored with his first touch
on 37 seconds. You couldn't have written it. And it's just what a perfect way to start his second Falkirk career.
I know, it was unbelievable. I had a wee day out of it yesterday. We was in Behind the Wall pre and post game. They've got the Venoms back to navy blue as well. They've changed the recipe. I was speaking to the barmaid because we were obviously talking about how it went all purpley. They've sorted it out and it's now back to a wonderful way. It was just they changed the recipe. They've stepped back away from the cranberry. So they've added just kind of raspberry flavouring to it now. So I think that's made a big difference. But I know, absolute class. And I had one last night to celebrate Scotty, and so I was in there. Met a couple of listeners as well to the podcast. Gentleman, I completely forgot his name because I'd had a Venom by this point. He come up from Somerset, and he listens to the podcast down there, and he was just up. Yeah, he was at the rugby today, and then also was at the game yesterday, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So thank you very much for listening, sir. I think it was Bert. I'm going to hazard a guess that his name was Bert. Older gentleman. Right. Had a wee chat with him, but great night in Behind the Wall. Managed to watch the Newcastle game up there, and it was like, we'll go to the toll booth, and I was like, no, I'm going down the road. So my mates progressed onto the toll booth. I've not heard from them today, so I don't know how that went. But yeah, I went down, taxi back down the road, and it was just great day. Just an absolute smashing day.
It really was. Obviously, you were on the booze yesterday. I had my youngest daughter with me, and she absolutely loved it as well. She managed
a picture with Scotty as well.
Picture at full time with Scotty as well. She was. I could hear her. She was like, Scotty, can I have a selfie? It was brilliant. So, and do you know? I know Lewis Connolly took a video of it, but he did not leave that corner of the tunnel until they had took a picture or signed an autograph with every single kid that was standing. There was about 15 to 20 kids.
I know, the ultras must have been, hurry up, Scotty, come on, because they were all waiting at the whole south stand, the Kim Callister stand was waiting for him to come over as well. The whole team were over there, and then eventually got there. But I know it was a sensational day, and we'll get into the game. a bit later with our favourite, one of our, I'm going to say it, my favourite pundit, Elsa, is she's been on, I think this is her 4th time on the show.
I think it is 4th, yeah. She was obviously, she did the 100th.
Yeah.
And back in October, didn't she? So
Elsa will be on to look back at the party game in just a moment. But it's love is in the air, Ross. I mean, not only is love in the air for Scotty Arfield, love is in the air this Valentine's. And what are you doing for your good wife, Mrs. Wayne?
I'm not sure yet, but I know how I'm spending my Valentine's morning.
Right. So this is I can't believe. Right. So me and Ross I've been railroaded into this, right? But our friend of the podcast, who's been one of our guest pundits, Craig Penman, is the manager of the new Tesco store in Larbert, I think it's Larbert actually. It classifies as Larbert, which is opening just near Kinnaird, which is my neck of the woods. And me and Ross, Craig thought it'd be a great idea to ask me and Ross to open the store. It's very Partridge. It is very Partridge. Now, my hesitancy against this was, if my colleagues at Radio Clyde get wind of this, I will not hear the end of this. But then Ross pitched, and I was adamant, I'm not doing it. And then Ross said, oh, you have to do it. I can't do it on my own. It's like ant without deck. And already the Falkirk Herald have been contacted. I'm like, oh no. And I felt bad for Craig. And I thought, oh, I'm going to have to do it. So anyway, long story short, Friday the 14th at 9 a.m, Valentine's Day, me and Ross are going to be opening the Tesco in Bellsdyke Road.
I'm actually buzzing for this. I'm not going to lie to you. Listen, it's a bit of a Partridge moment. Who would have thought that we would have ever been asked to open up anything other than, well, actually, just this podcast. So yeah, Friday the 14th at 9 a.m, the brand new Tesco's is opening on Bellsdyke Road. It sounds like it's going to be a busy one. They've got a raffle for Strathcara, and they're asking for loads of people to come down, and you can win vouchers, bottles, and loads of other gifts. And
if you've got a club card as well, great opportunity to get cheap deals down at Tesco's as well. What's your supermarket of choice, Ross, in the Falkirk area? What is your supermarket of choice? You're Morrison's
Tesco.
Man.
No, it's
Tesco's. Yes, of course, Tesco's.
I'll now be specifically Tesco's in Bellsdyke Road.
Tesco. I have to say, I'm a Tesco man, and Tesco and Camelin. Do you know? And this is getting off the football topic, but I do the big shop, because what I don't trust is my wife to do the big shop, because she just, when you let her loose with the card, it just comes back with hundreds of pounds worth of stuff. I know. Right, and I think everyone has their specific supermarket, right? Because you know where things are. So so you shoot round. So you don't really tend to deviate from your supermarket of choice, because you go there, right? I know this is here. I know what am I doing? Route round, bang, bang, bang. I'm out the door. Boom. So are you a big shopper, or is Gillian the big shopper?
It's more Gillian. However, I am the top up person midweek. I get charged with the.
You go to the Co. I'm assuming you just go to the Co.
Round. No. I'll hit Tesco's that came in as well. Oh, as I say, now be Bellsdyke Road one.
Bellsdyke Road.
I get annoyed when I can't find something. Like, see, this week I went for watermelon, right?
What? It's like Dirty Dancing.
Couldn't get it.
Couldn't get watermelon.
No. Bananas. They were out of bananas as well. What was that all about?
Of course, they won't be out of bananas or watermelon at the new Tesco on Bellsdyke Road, opening this Friday at 9 a.m. with me and Ross.
With our big scissors.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Honest to God. So we will be down there. Come on down. And it obviously great to help Strathcara, and there's a raffle and all sorts going for the day. So, we'll be down there spending Valentine's Day opening a Tesco's. I can't believe I've just said that sentence. Anyway, let's pop on with the show now, shall we? And straight into birthday corner, and we've got to do this one. In fact, why are we doing this now? But Elsa, it's her birthday, so we'll need to say when she comes on, we'll need to sing happy birthday to her.
Happy birthday to her, we will.
But yeah, she's a great weekend for her. Obviously, Arfield hat-trick, and Leon McCann, one of her favourites, getting a goal as well. And that's from Fiona and Jane. So thanks very much. We'll have to sing happy birthday when she comes on a bit later on. And I have to put a shout out to, and he probably won't, I don't think he's ever listened to an episode of this podcast, but my friend Neil's dad, Jim, absolutely, he's in he's got the premium season tickets. Him and the Websters sitting there, and Jim's not been great at the moment. He's he's in hospital just now, and so he's getting there. But honestly, all the love to Jim and the Russells, big massive Falkirk supporters. Jim loves just to moan about Falkirk anytime I see him. I always have a chat with him every game because he's just up from us. So get well soon, Jim, and hope you've listened to this podcast. And if you haven't, someone will tell you, I'm sure, that listens to the podcast. But best of luck, Jim, and getting back on the road to recovery. Right, let's get into the F Factor. Time is running out. You've only got till Valentine's Day to get your entries in if you want to get into Falkirk Daft Live. We do know the golden buzzer has sounded, and the Owen from last week is getting straight through to the live final at Behind the Wall on the 28th of February. And we've got another entry, and we love the voice notes. And let's hear now from a voice note we got from Davy Brown.
Alright boys, Davy Brown, fae up the tune, Ken. Thought I'd put a wee effort in for the Falkirk X Factor, whatever you call it.
X Factor, baby.
I think it was me that started on this.
I think it maybe was.
Original. Anyway, here's one for you. It's an old tune for the 90s by a band called the Spiral Carpets.
Yes!
Stevie Beveridge will ken the score. And maybe you didn't remember it, but it's a great tune. Spiral Carpets, Saturn 5. Tune. And I've changed it a wee bit. This is fresh off the press. And it goes a bit like this.
Here we go.
Scott Arfield, you really were the greatest sight. Now you're back with the Falkirk in the navy and white. Scott Arfield, you really were the greatest sight. Now you're back with the Falkirk in the navy and white. Scott Arfield, you really were the greatest sight. Now you're back with the Falkirk in the navy and white. What a tune. See, simple. There's too many of these tunes with too many words in them. I can't mind them all at my age. Keep it simple, boys. That's what you need. You can also do Scarfield, you really were the greatest sight. Scoring goals past the Fifers makes my Saturday night. Yes.
David, up the tune. What an effort that is. Saturn 5 and Spiral Carpets, what a tune as well. And do you know who I think will appreciate that as well? Scott Arfield's a big indie fan, so I think he'd appreciate that. Because we obviously, Saturday night's been the big anthem for him, but Scotty's a wee indie boy. You know, he used to be in a band. God, what was his name? His band as well? I cannot remember it. It'll come back to me at some point. But he's an indie fan, big Oasis fan, so I think he'll appreciate that one.
I think he would, and I think I don't know if you've got Scotty's number or if it's your close pal that's got Scotty's number, but you need to forward that on to him to send him and see what he thinks.
Absolutely. Listen, Davy Brown for Up the Tune could be at Behind the Wall come the 28th of February.
And Friday's the deadline. This is the last chance.
It's the deadline, and then we're going to have to have a wee conference call, Ross. We're going to have to set up a Teams meeting. We're going to have to take all the entries that we've had in so far and decide who's going through.
This
to the
feels like a wee extra half-an-hour podcast that we need to do. We just listen to all of them. Get folk to phone in.
Oh, aye. But live podcast, who votes? But we could put up for public vote. Nah, listen. This is a dictatorship. This podcast, we're absolutely it's no public vote on this. We'll decide who's coming through the live final. So brilliant. Absolutely love that, Davy Brown for Up the Tune. Fantastic. Listen, we ran a competition on our socials this week. And we mentioned it on their bonus emergency podcast that you had to guess the starting 11 to win a signed Scott Arfield top. Now, everyone waded in on this, right? Everyone wanted to get a piece of the cherry. Hundreds and hundreds of entries. out of 100 of entries, we only had one correct team. Now, I think everyone's completely thrown, and we'll talk about that, obviously, when we get into the game, but we only had one correct entry, and that correct entry came from our friend over at Walking Down Hope Street, Lewis Hogan, who nailed it. Now, Lewis was very smart because he put his entry in at 1:47 just before the team lines came out. And he nailed it, absolutely nailed it. Because what he said was he was looking at all the other entries that came in and just tried to find a variant. And he absolutely nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
He has, and he's won the shirt that's hanging up behind me just now. So we'll need to get in touch with, we've been in touch with him, but we'll need to get meeting with him and hand the shirt over.
So, well done, Lewis. Absolutely well done. We'll get that Scotty Arfield strip out to you. And we've got a new competition, Ross.
We do. Yes, Gordon, one of our pals over at Pints and Prints, got in touch with us. He's literally hot off the press. He's designed a new Scott Arfield t-shirt, fresh from the images that were released on social media last night. It looks an absolute belter. That'll be shared on the socials for this podcast. Gordon set the question, actually. So it wasn't even us. We didn't have to get involved, but we are giving him a wee hand, try and boost the website and the sales of the shirt. So all people have to do is get in touch on X to tell us who Scott Arfield scored his last Falkirk goal against in his first spell. So just tell us who Scott scored his last Falkirk goal against during his first spell, and we will announce the winner next podcast.
Do you know what would be a great idea for Gordon as well, if he is listening, is send us the t-shirts for free, and then we could wear them on the podcast next week as well.
That works.
To be fair, I just bought a t-shirt off of Gordon's Pint and Sprints. It's the kind of Legends t-shirt, which has got all the kind of...
Oh yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, so it's got the lineup of all the...
Some fantastic t-shirts on there. The shirts one, I've obviously... I've got the Falkirk Daft one with the red tee.
Yeah, and obviously you can get the Falkirk 316 t-shirt, which I wore at the last live event as well. Lots of great t-shirts as well. I've got a few from Gordon, so they're really, really good. So yeah, get involved in that. Just tell us who Scott scored his last Falkirk goal against in his first spell, and you can be in the mix for that. We'll put it up on our socials. Just answer to that, and we'll announce the winner on next week's show. Back to business, and this week's episode sponsor, I've got to say thank you very much to Haldane Construction. Peter missed the game yesterday. He messaged us saying he was absolutely gutted. He missed it, but they're doing a great thing come 16th of March at the Falkirk Wheel, Ross.
They are, yes. So Peter and the team are going to be abseiling off of the Falkirk Wheel. And this is all in aid of Strathcarron, which, as we've already talked about, they're a phenomenal local charity that so many have an affiliation with, either a family member or a friend. And so, yeah, they are going to be abseiling off the massive structure that is the Falkirk Wheel on the 16th of March. It's not something I personally could do due to my fear of heights.
Have you got fear of heights, have you?
Do you know what? I'm okay. See if I'm on a plane or something, I'm absolutely fine with that. But see if I'm off something that looks fallable. And I would say the Falkirk Wheel is something.
I need to send you pictures of the new Everton Stadium. Have you seen the steepness of the staircases at the Everton Stadium? Oh my God! It's you wouldn't like it, Ross. You wouldn't like it there. Don't go to a game down at the new Everton Stadium.
Is it worse than the old away end at Love Street?
Aye, yeah. I would. It takes Easter Road looks like flat. You know how steep Easter Road is. It looks flat in comparison to this. It's unbelievable.
So yeah, no, fantastic from Peter and the team, and we will share the links on the episodes on YouTube and on our Twitter pages as well, and Facebook. So Strathcarron are obviously the beneficiaries there, and there's a Just Giving page been set up too that we will share.
Yeah, and of course Haldane Construction, use them, keep it in the Falkirk family if you're looking to get a project, new builds, extensions, renovations and commercial projects, and maybe... they've obviously just set up the landscaping business side as well, which we mentioned on the emergency podcast there as well. So if you're looking to get your fence sorted from the storm, get in touch with Peter, Haldane Construction. All The details are below in the bio, so get in touch with Peter and the team over there. And thanks as well, our usual sponsors, of course, Falkirk Football Fans in Training Lava Cup. Boys are getting very excited about it. I met them in Behind the Wall Shot Corner yesterday. Ali, Colin and Ian all in there sipping cocktails, Ross. Ian keeping it real with the old Falkirk Daft venom. However, Ali and Colin were on some sort of limoncello cocktail, and then Ali was drinking something out of a jam jar. So
jam jar one could have been. Is that not that? What's the sweetie?
It's drumstick. Was it a drumstick? By the way, I had a wee sip of it. It was delicious, I have to say.
Nice, was it?
Very
you know
nice.
What I prefer for a cocktail, and it's maybe not the most manliest, is a woo-woo.
Oh my God.
The trouble is, see, when you order it, the waitress or waiter will make you say woo woo.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, I'm a more of a solid kind of real meaty cocktail. I like James Bond. I like a quad. I like a martini, gin martini, 3 shots of gin, 1 shot of vermouth, little bit of dirty brine, 3 olives, boom.
See, that sounds like that's more masculine to ask for at the bar as well. Can you imagine James Bond going up to the bar and say, "Oh, can I have a woo woo, please?"
Yeah, it just wouldn't work. But anyway, the boys were on the cocktails at Behind the Wall, and they were telling they're really excited. They've got Lava Cup Ball out now as well, and I've seen a few graphics of all the teams that are getting involved in the Lava Cup, which is coming very, very soon. But if you want to get involved in the Lava Cup and get involved with the T8s, they're making memories through football, and they meet every Monday at the stadium, 8 to 9, or Tuesday 7:30 to 8:30. And obviously they've got the new Super Vets football stuff going on, which is strictly over 50s with 8 aside, but playing to the old 5-a-side rules. And that's a collaboration with the walking football team. Really, really good. And that happens at the stadium Friday between 5 and 6. So get in touch. Again, all the links are below for that. Ian, Willie, or Dougie. I bumped into Dougie at halftime as well yesterday. He wasn't in the pub afterwards, unfortunately, but I had a good chat with Dougie at halftime yesterday. But they're a great bunch of lads. Get involved with them. Football fans in training, and we love those guys. And we're playing. Even if you get involved now, you could be involved in the charity match. I was winding them up about some of the players I might have lined up for this year's charity match. Some Scotland internationals potentially, Ross, and some celebrities as well. So we'll see how that goes. So that's going to happen at the end of the season, hopefully, again in aid of a charity still to be decided. Right, let's get into the Falkirk news, shall we? Ayr match, almost a sellout, and I suspect it will be sold out by the weekend.
Oh, if I'm being honest, John, I think by the time this podcast goes out tomorrow, i.e. Monday, I think it'll be sold out. There's literally like 50 or 60 tickets left, so I'd be shocked if they are left for much more. I've no idea whether the North Stand would be halved, because obviously Ayr are likely to bring a sizable crowd in it. We obviously do get a generous allocation when we go to Somerset Park, so I can't imagine Falkirk limiting Ayr to just 900 tickets. So if you want to go, I would suggest buying it ASAP. And as we said, by the time this is out, it could already be sold out.
It's a huge game. It's, undoubtedly the biggest game of the season so far. It's going to be absolutely huge. And all the support, every last voice in that stand could help us get a win on Saturday. So if you haven't got a ticket, get along. And it's just phenomenal to see. I mean, it was over 6,400 there yesterday as well.
Right. Yep, 800 from Thistle, so it's that 5-6 from a home support perspective.
Thistle brought a decent crowd, to be fair to them. They brought
they did. They travelled well.
So Dan, that was good to see that North Stand getting fully used for once. Get along to the Ayr match. It's going to be absolutely massive, and we'll talk about the Ayr match in just a bit. Good to see Tony Begg getting interested in Falkirk TV this week, Ross.
Yeah, a really, really good timely update from Tony. I love listening to him, if I'm being honest. And it'd be good to I might reach out to him and see if he fancies coming back on the podcast, because the last time he came on, he obviously gave us an update on the under-16s, the under-18s teams. They've played so many games since then. And also, Tony has been helping out with John McGlynn and Paul Smith in the dugout. So that could be a phenomenal getting him back on. So I'll take that in the minutes, and I'll
put that in the minutes. There's a good question. What's happened to Christoph Berra? Because obviously he seems to be in and out. Like sometimes you'll see him in the dugout, sometimes you don't. I don't know if it's just like almost like work experience. Christoph Berra's on where he just comes in and shadows now and again. But we did see, I think, leaps and bounds of how Call's game moved on when Christoph was involved with the coaching setup.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's very true. I'm not sure.
We'll need to get to the bottom of that. Put that in the minutes as well, Ross.
I'll put that in the minutes as well. But yeah, no, it's Tony Begg, fantastic interview. Not have a listen because it's 5-6 minutes in time. A timely reminder though that the speakers' night, which funds a large part of the academy sort of budget, is coming up on the 7th of March at the Inshire, and there are still some tables available. So if you do want to help support and can, try and get along, get in touch with Paddy and the commercial guys at the club, because I'm sure they'll be delighted to sort you out with either a space or two for yourself, or a table, in fact, as well.
Yeah. I think something that's went under the radar, and we didn't mention, it just kind of got announced, and it's probably an amazing return to the club, is Alan Fraser's rejoined the club as chief scout. Now, Alan, if you've not, he was integral in picking out some of the brilliant players that worked with Yogi between 2004 and then for 2011 he actually joined Ross Wilson at Watford, Huddersfield, Southampton, and was working at Derby County as well. He's a Falkirk local lad, and it's great to have Alan's insight and experience back into the club, Ross.
It is, it's fantastic, and the big thing is he's also had a bit of time working for Falkirk under John McGlynn as well. So that relationship was already there ever so briefly before Alan obviously joined Ross Wilson again at Nottingham Forest for the last season or two. And obviously we know how well Forest are doing just now from a recruitment perspective. But no, it's actually one of the best signings we've made all season, and that tells you something. What a guy to have back. I remember, and bless him, he must have the patience of a saint as well. When he was working at Falkirk in 2022-23, he was unfortunate enough to be in the wheat sheaf. And
Andy taught the ear off him.
Yeah, one of our mates, Andy White, chewed the ear off him for about an hour about who we were signing, who could we look forward to seeing, all this kind of stuff. So, but no, what a phenomenal acquisition that is to get him back in.
Yeah.
He will be fantastic for Falkirk going forward. He really will.
Absolutely. We saw obviously Scott Arfield yesterday turn up in the number 37 jersey, which was obviously Craig Gowns, and we retired that number. With the blessing of the Gowns family, Scott is now wearing that number, and I think it's just so poignant to see Scott. I mean, because he's had wore the 37 throughout his career, Rangers, Burnley, over in Charlotte as well. There's an amazing picture, if you've ever seen it, of Messi with Scott Arfield, the 37 on the back of his top as well. And it was just great, and I'm delighted that obviously that's happened for Scotty. And I think, like you say, Ross, 37 seconds we timed it yesterday for him actually scoring his goal is amazing, absolutely amazing. But you can get sponsoring that. I think to be fair, from the club's perspective, it's a great way of making money. You can auction. There's an auction ongoing for the home and away top to sponsor that, so you can get that now. It's on the club website, so get involved. I'm not too sure when the closing date for that is, Ross. I
think it's actually I've got Tuesday in my head, John.
Right.
For both, I could be wrong. Let me double check that. But yeah, I'm sure. I think it might be Tuesday. And obviously, as you said, there's the auction for the home and the away. There is also the raffle, which you can win sponsorship of his heritage top for the season, his boots sponsorship, his goal flash sponsorship, which when you would have had a field day yesterday, had that done. And so yeah, so there's and the raffle is obviously very well priced at £20. So even if you're not someone who's intending or would able to spend thousands on an auction, there is an opportunity there still to win a piece of history from the season.
Falkirk Daft putting in for the raffle. I think we've got to put in for the raffle.
Indeed we do. Indeed we do.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's up for grabs. Check out the website for that. Falkirk women, another win for the girls today. Fantastic. 4-2 away at Forfar. Goals from Brogan Anderson. She got a double, and Mary Smith as well on the score sheet. Brilliant for the girls. And of course, remember 23rd of February, the game against East Fife is a massive game for the Falkirk women, and it's our Falkirk Daft Day. We're going to be down there at the stadium covering it. Might do a little vlog that day, I think, Ross. We might bring back the vlog. because it went so well the last time. So I think we might do that. A vlog on the day of that game. So why don't you get down with us? £4 for adults, free to under 12s, and members of the Falkirk Football Fans Foundation. You can get in there as well. So get down now on the 23rd, and fingers crossed that the women are still going strong. And we're cheering on them going top of the league. That would be amazing.
How amazing would that be if that could be the scenario? Because obviously they're playing East Fife that day, who are currently top of the league. And if we could overtake them that day, that would be brilliant.
Absolutely. Right, but let's get into it now. Let's talk about the football and talk about the dream day, which was Scott Arfield's debut. And we're going to do, I don't even have to introduce her. She's been on several times before. It's Elsa Fantini.
Happy birthday to
you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Elsa.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, boys, that was lovely.
There we go.
Elsa, we won't ask your age. We won't ask your age because we're gentlemen on this podcast, as you know.
As I know.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm going to introduce myself again to everybody to say I'm friend of the stars. You two here, you know.
Have you heard the big news, Elsa? We're opening a Tesco on Friday. it's all happening. It's all happening.
It's not
I swear to God, we're opening a Tesco. Go back and listen to the rest of the podcast, Elsa. That's all.
I'm looking forward to this. I was expecting to join with a rendition of Saturday Night there. That's what I was waiting on.
We've done that.
We've done that already as well. How have you been, Elsa? It's been ages. Well, no, it's not been ages since we've caught up with you because you've been on already this season for our 100th episode.
No, I tell you what, I'm definitely getting a season ticket for this Falkirk Daft podcast.
No.
I'm doing good. What a season. Tell me about it. What a season.
What a birthday for you yesterday and all. Your favourite player, wee Leon scoring, and then my pal Fiona made me a wee Arfield badge to wear. So there was me touching my wee badge every time we scored. I was like greeting. It was amazing. Your chest must have been sore by the end yet.
We have that picture. Don't you worry. We have that picture.
Brilliant. Well, great to have you. So we've asked you, we're going to have to think of a new question for Elsa because we've asked her the most disappointing act. What was your answer again? Was it?
I think it was Burton O'Brien.
Burton O'Brien, I remember.
Let's be honest, there's a list there, John. It depends which squad we're going to go to here. You know what I mean? I can list a load of them with Hartley, but let's not go there because I don't want to taint anything that's happening now, which is just beautiful. You know,
it is beautiful just now. But Elsa, I do have a question for you, and if I'm not going to go with that one, are you ready for it? It's a tough one.
Go on.
Who's your favourite between John and me?
It's got to be the Ginger God of Pod. It's all.
You know, it's a difficult one. I've got a soft spot for both of you boys. You know this, John. I've known Ross for such a long time.
I know.
You know, it's different. You know, but longevity ain't everything. Do you know what I mean, John? It's not everything. I usually agree mostly with Ross on the podcast, and I'm listening with yes, Ross, and I was going to make a choo-choo sound to join his train.
Are you on the Wayne? Are you on the Wayne train?
You must know I'm about to be on the Wayne train. You must.
You're on the Wayne train. There you go.
You know, but I have to be honest. I've listened to you doing your dad moments the last few weeks, giving it all. Now we all need to calm down. Just all need to calm down. So I've enjoyed that as well.
Yes, I'm dad mode. Got thrown out the window yesterday, though I have to say. And behind the wall, after a couple of Falkirk Daft Venoms, I was I was on the Wayne train. Last night. I'm back to being sensible dad figure now as well. But yes, let us talk about it then, will we? Let's talk about that game against Thistle and a big birthday smile on Elsa's face after Scott Arfield returned to the Falkirk Stadium and straight into the starting 11, which surprised a lot of people because a lot of people, when they were trying to predict the lineup, didn't have Scotty in it. Ross, you had no doubts, so did you?
No doubts whatsoever. You do not bring a player of his calibre into the football club and not start him. I know there was a few question marks pre-match about, is he going to be fit? Is he going to be this? Listen, he has been training full-time at a very big club down in England. I had no doubts in his fitness, and by all accounts, from those in the know, he's trained very, very well.
Yeah.
In the build-up to Saturday, being the quickest at certain tests and stuff. For me, it was a no-brainer, and I think he proved within seconds that was the right call.
Elsa, did you have him in your starting 11?
No, I didn't. I have to be honest, I didn't. I don't know. I don't know. I think we've seen John over the years being quite loyal to the team that have got us where we are. And I have to be honest, I thought Oliver would come back in. I was really glad to see him back in yesterday, but I honestly thought he would have started with Nesbitt and maybe brought Arfield in off the bench to an ovation or something like that later in the game. But I was wrong. How wrong was I?
I know. So Scotty starts. The big one was, though, Luke Graham at left back.
No.
We'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. No. I am fully on board with you. My colleague next to me, we'll have a discussion about this as we get into the game. My colleague is not quite as sold as you and me are, Elsa. And then Gary Oliver coming back in as well. Frightening statistic that every game, Gary, in the last 16 games, Gary has started 14 wins and 2 draws.
Absolutely unbelievable.
He's got to start based on that.
Yeah, we play better with him, I know. His link-up play's been outstanding. Every time he's played.
Obviously, that was forced because Ross McKeever out injured. Eamon Brophy, who's like, where is Eamon Brophy? Where is Eamon Brophy? But he was out injured as well, which meant Gary came in and led the line. And I think it'll be very hard pushed to get him back out of that starting oven after his performance yesterday. We'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, obviously the big news, Scott Arfield starting for the Bairns against Thistle. Thistle-wise, it's Scott Martin, obviously, they've just signed him. He came in, they started with 2 up top yesterday. The boy Abladi, who scored the last time he was at the stadium and gave us all sorts of problems. And obviously he was up front with Mr. Graham, who we'll get into in a bit as well. Big talking point there. But yeah, like we said before, only one person was able to nail that starting 11, Ross. And that's where we're at as the club just now, because you even look at that bench, and you go, Jesus Christ, there's so many options there.
There was massive options available to him, and as you said, we only really had Ross McKeever, Eamon Brophy, and obviously there was John McGlynn confirmed pre-match that Miller Thompson had a knock when he signed, but will be back in full-time training on Monday, which is great. But yeah, there was so many permutations, like literally hundreds of permutations. I think I said on that emergency podcast we did on Thursday that I'm going to say something. I called the defence, I just didn't have it in the right order.
Yeah.
Because I obviously said, look, I was so certain Luke Graham was going to come back in. And he has to play. I know we're going to talk about it, but he has to be in the starting 11 for me, right? And he obviously came in at left back. You had Hendo and Cole there as the centre halves, and Keelan Adams had his best game for me in the last 2.5 months.
But what about poor old Tom, my pal, the handsomest man in Scottish football, Tom Lang, who's been man of the match arguably in the last 2 games for us, and was dropped to the bench. Someone did, however, say to me that he was strapped up. Saw strapping on his leg, so I don't know if that's played into Tom sitting on the bench. But I felt really gutted for Tom because I think he was sensational against Livingston, and as I've spoke about, the aggression he brings into the team is like no one else in the team that he brings. He just through boys, tackle, header, come on. So I was gutted for Tom.
I don't disagree, to be honest. Like he's been brilliant in the last 2 games he's played. But we can only play so many, and we've now got 6.
And therein lies the rub, because for me, the bit that's going to decide where we land on the end of this season is who he picks in defence. And you know, we've got a plethora of players, but I still don't. And I know we're going to probably talk about it, but I get why he wants to play Luke Graham, and maybe it's sacrilege to say this, but if you're going to play him, you need to play Lang, and you need to drop Donaldson. You don't drop your left back. Yeah.
I think Hendo is the first name on the team sheet for me. He has been, again, proven yesterday. I just love watching Liam Henderson play football. He's just so... As a big fan of centre-halves, and you know, that's where I like to play when I'm actually playing football myself. He's just a joy to watch. He wins everything. He's control of the ball.
He just makes it look easy.
He's our player. I don't think many people will argue that Hendo is our player of the season. At the start of the season, you could be putting shouts in for Dylan Tate, Brad Spencer, Ethan Ross. But you look at it now, and just Hendo has just been consistent. You know, he's an 8 out of 10 just about every game, sometimes stepping into 9s, because he's just unbelievable at the back. So he's the only one that you say you don't drop. And there have been arguments from myself, there have been arguments from people in the stands, and we saw that in the start lineups that we got sent out, that Liam was the shout to put Liam back into midfield. Now, you could do that, and I think in certain games I've been arguing, I think your Livingston's, it might be an option to put Liam into midfield, but what you get from it at the back is unbelievable.
I don't disagree. I kind of wondered, when I saw the team sheet come out, the bit that my wee peanut brain struggled with was who was playing where. I did not see Luke Graham out at left back, I have to be honest. If anything, I thought maybe he'd have put Big Hendo out there, but almost like a 3 then.
That's what I thought Elsa going to start the team, yeah.
Make Hendo a bit more advanced and obviously be that kind of target man, etc. But I just... we'll go into it, but I didn't. For me, Luke Graham's not a left back. For all the strength he's got in so many ways, he's not a left back, and you can see the difference that made when McCann came on in terms of pushing up, overlaps, positional sense, the whole lot, because he's a left back. Yeah, exactly.
But we started off the game, you know, and it was a flyer, and you couldn't have written it. Yeah, it was just.
I think it was his first touch of the ball.
First touch of the ball, Scott Arfield. I mean, the ovation he obviously got from, you know, in the build up to the game, coming on the pitch. You know, it was huge, and you could just tell everyone around that stadium was buzzing on Saturday, absolutely buzzing. But to start with your first touch of the ball, to stroke in, you know, that finish that he did, I think it was going to be a penalty. I genuinely think it was going to be a penalty if he hadn't finished. And I think John McGlynn said that in his interview. Is like, I don't think any other player on that park would have done what Scott did. I think, and this is what brings to the club, you know, hopefully Dylan, Brad, Ethan. I mean, he just class. It was just a class finish. You know, he just. You know, it was no sticking away. He knew exactly where he was putting it, and that's what separates him from, you know, as good as Brad and Dylan have been, and that's what separates. That's why you can tell he's played in the Premiership. That's why you can tell he's played in the European final, because it was just class. Absolute brilliant finish.
Just a different level, as you say, John, and he actually made everyone else play better, in my opinion, yesterday, for a few different reasons, right? See, when you bring players of that calibre in, they raise the bar, right? And it's not to say we've not had a high bar, because we have, right? But he's another bar. The players are all going to listen to him. They look up to him. They see what he does. So as John said, they will watch his technique with both goals yesterday and go, wow. Because we, as John McGlynn said as well, we have hit that into Rose Ed, we've hit that into the East car park. We've not been scoring those goals, but he made everyone better round about him yesterday. And the other thing, for me as well, is he takes attention away from other players. So I actually think Brad and Dylan had more space yesterday because Partick Thistle were all over Scott Arfield.
I agree with that. It was the space I noticed.
Yeah,
he just looked to have. He made space all over the park. It was mesmerising to watch at times.
Do you know what is interesting as well? I think the three players that I think have been on a wee bit of a lull at the moment, you know, that have been excellent for us, is Keelan Adams, Brad Spencer and Dylan Tate have all had a wee dip in form recently. But yesterday, I thought all three of them were back on it. And like you say, Ross, it's whether that Arfield effect's just raised the levels up, or whether on the park that he's just given the guys more space, because the focus from other teams might be on, we've got to stop Scott Arfield here. Yeah, it's interesting.
No, I think so as well. And it's not just like, if you think about the players, like we talk about Brad and Colby and obviously captain and vice captain. But they will be looking up to Scott as well and listening to him and taking it all in. And I think we've seen an immediate impact there already. You
could see it on the park. Just he was constantly demanding the ball, demanding standards, talking throughout the game. You know, even when it came to, we'll talk about the penalty in a bit, where like he grabbed the ball, but then he immediately knew, right, I'm just new, and he handed it back over to Brad. you know, and there's a pecking order here, and just sensibilities like that, you know, he's just going to bring the level up. And I was just, you know, I was worried. I have to say, I was worried because I thought the turn of Arfield was going to be one way or the other. He's going to be absolute dog meat and like be great around the dressing room and all what have you, or he's going to be sensational. I am delighted to say it was the latter because yesterday's performance was out of this world, and to score that goal after 37 seconds was unbelievable. But it didn't last long, the lead, and it kind of put a big damper on the stadium because Partick got right back into it. A very un-Falkirk goal to give away, I thought, Elsa.
If you're not talking about space opening up, it was like the seas just opened in the defence and in midfield right the way through that final pass for the boy to put away. Was it Logan Chalmers put away? A beautiful goal, by the way. Fair play to the guy. It's
a great ball from the Bladdy. Brilliant ball.
Absolutely brilliant.
And hint of offside, a wee bit. A hint of offside.
Now, I thought at the time, because I saw the dugout in front of me, I saw big time Chris McGill shouting up to the video guys, offside, and they sort of gave him the thumbs up. I've actually I messaged Chris today and just said, can you just confirm, was that goal offside? Yes, he said no, unfortunately not. It was onside. You couldn't really tell from the Falkirk TV angle if it was on or off, but Chris gave me the nod saying it was onside. But it was a really good ball, and Logan Chalmers, a player who's in really good form at the moment for Thistle.
Totally agree. I thought he was actually one of the bright sparks yesterday. I thought it just, you know, that way to your point, it was a bit of a dampener. There was quite a lot of emotion in the ground yesterday. I think the whole, you know, Scotty, coming back to your point, there's probably a lot of people sitting there going, I hope he's great, because I saw some of the Bolton fans weren't exactly kind in some of the socials that they're don't know class when they see it, but that's a whole different debate. I think for me it was just, there was a lot of emotion there, and you also didn't want the players to get caught up in that. You wanted them just to focus on the game. And as the game wore on, the sending off may have changed it, but second half particularly, it was a very professional performance. So for me, I was glad that didn't impact them.
As you said, though, John, the ball through from what was his lad's name?
Bladdy.
Oh, bloody, yeah. At the pass made it because he absolutely cut out our centre half and Keelan Adams. I can't remember if it was Cole.
I thought Keelan Adams was a bit like, he didn't really play to it was a bit schoolboy. He didn't really play to the whistle with his hands were straight up, and he was like looking at the linesman where he should be going and trying to cover. But I thought it was a really spit the word out. It was a very unnatural, I'm going to use that word instead, goal for Falkirk to give away, because I've not seen many goals like that under a John McGlynn team.
I was about to say that, John. I think, you know, we've all seen how difficult it's been lately with set pieces, and we've not been defending them well at all. But actually, I can't remember the last time we saw a goal from open play in that style. I just can't. I was trying to think about it last night, and this morning I was looking at the highlights, and I thought, this is, you know, it's not something I can sit there and go, we did that 2 weeks ago or something. We don't tend to sink those kind of goals.
Uncharacteristic. That's the word I was looking
for.
Thanks very much. And then 1-1, we had a couple of chances in between. Then Thistle got a goal. Brian Graham does what Brian Graham does. Now, this is where I want to get into talk about Luke Graham playing left back, because if Leon McCann was playing left back, that goal doesn't happen. Elsa, I think you're on the train with me.
I'm totally in agreement. His position was all wrong. His body shape was all wrong. I mean, I'm a bit further away where I sit in the main stand, but from where I could see, there was just a hole where there should have been a left back, and then you saw he was too far forward, and I just thought to myself, I wouldn't have seen that happen if to your point, the cross wouldn't have come in that way. It just wouldn't have happened.
I mean, not taking away from the finish from Brian Graham, Ross. It was. Brian Graham's a very intelligent, very smart footballer. I think one of these players, you absolutely hate them when you see them. You know, but it's that Stephen Dobby effect. You know, you see a Rudy Payton, when you see them in the opposition team, you go, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't fancy that. But Brian, very smart footballer. You know, smart to a point, but
smart to a point. Yeah, he was very clever to get in front of Cole, and he obviously nicked the ball to put him ahead. I obviously disagree with the Luke
You
Graham.
Think that Luke Graham's a left back? Yeah,
no, I never said he was.
Because I said to you, and Irene Ross, we don't get into much argy-bargy at the football, but at half time, Elsa, I said to Ross, hook Graham now, get Leon McCann or Sean Mackey on at half time, because that just is not working. And that was when we were 3-2 up as well. I just said, even though we're 3-2 up, get Leon McCann on.
And I think everybody agrees he's not a left back, right?
I think John McGlynn agrees. If you heard this interview, he said he kept using the word try. We tried. I
thought that was interesting as well, John, because I was sitting there thinking to myself, he's not going to say he made a mistake. No. I'm not getting a feeling that this is. I can see, his logic made some sense, but equally, you're going to lose something else if you're going to try something to give extra height. And I got that, and he said that you're going to lose something else because that's not his position.
Yeah,
I have a question for you both, though, right? Having watched it back, and I've watched that situation back a few times, I don't think Leo McCann or Sean Mackey were catching that boy getting that crosses.
I think what Elsa says, positionally, I thought Luke Young was way out of where he should have been. I thought, Luke Graham was way out of where he should have been.
He was in his left back position. It was just that he was at a standing point, whereas the boy was running at pace.
But that's my point. I don't honestly think his run would have finished with the cross. I think the run would have changed. That I may be wrong, because I'm clearly, and I respect your opinion, Ross, because I usually agree with you, but in this one I don't.
Listen, you're on the McInally train now, Elsa.
Christ, no one wants to be on that train.
I'll win you over. I'm your favourite now, Elsa. That's it. Right, but 2-1, and it was Brian Graham. And it's not the last time we'll mention Brian Graham, but Brian Graham, quite shortly after that, was booked, and it was a definite booking. He had 2 bites at Calvin Miller, who I thought had a great game yesterday on that right hand side. I thought he was really, really good. His crosses, his movement, his taking players on.
Should it have been a red? Do we think
on the first one?
He stamped his ankle.
I didn't see it as a red. I have to be honest, Ross. And even at the time where we were sitting, we didn't get a clear angle of it. But when the booking went out, and then obviously Motormouth started.
Yeah.
And I thought, he's about to talk himself into trouble here.
Well, he certainly did. But in between that, we got a penalty. Keelan Adams, as you alluded to, Ross, back doing what we saw at the start of the season, driving forward, getting into the box. And I think, again, it's just that standard's maybe just been lifted with Scott Arfield. At first, watching it, I think I'll have to see it from a better angle, but watching it in real time from where we were sat, Ross, I thought it was a definite penalty. When I look back at the replays, it's a little bit soft. I don't know how much contact was made there, but it was, we got the penalty in the end anyway.
We did. It was a lovely, lovely ball for Gary Oliver, like a proper slide rule, split and defence pass. I agree with you. At the time, he obviously got a trip, and then he tried to carry on and then fell again. I think that shows that it was a foul. The fact that he tried to kind of keep going, because he was in a fairly decent position with it. Yeah. I've not seen it from an alternative angle yet, as in, like, I know Thistle's got a camera from one of their sides, and I think I'm sure Falkirk TV will have, how they do the match day camera, they'll have something as well. But I can see why it's been given, because he's been tripped once. He's tried to keep going. He's not been able.
I think he's felt a little bit of contact and tried his luck.
Yeah.
You might look at it and see where the ref is, because he's absolutely laser-eyed on it.
Aye.
Well, I was thinking, that looks a bit soft. I'll take it. That's fine. Yeah. There is one of the things in socials. I think it's part of Thistle. Their kind of match day coverage where they're down low and they're actually behind, and you can see how the run, Keelan Adams' run up, and he's obviously clipped him. It goes down, so it looks more definite for me in that.
Yeah. I mean, at the time from the stand, I thought it was a penalty, but then I watched Falkirk TV and it's a bit soft. But listen, and Brad Spencer, as I said before, Scott Arfield grabbed the ball, but then realised, it's Brad's on the penalties. And Brad, can we put it down for a miss? I think we have to put it down for a miss for Brad. Obviously, did the same at Hamilton. Keeper was able to save it. David Mitchell in the goals for Thistle. Gary Lowe, great striker insight, and great to see Gary Oliver getting a goal. He works so hard for the team, and I think we're all quite critical as well of the fact that Gary drops quite deep from time to time, and he can sometimes be found out of position. But the stats don't lie. it's, you look at the stat I mentioned there, it frees up Ethan, it frees up Calvin on the wings to get in, and it frees up the 10 who yesterday was of the Arfield getting forward as well, and because Gary's dropping back like that, and I really like Gary Oliver as a footballer, and he worked so hard for the team, like you said, Ross, the ball through for Adams, but it was good to see him getting his goal.
It really was. It really was. I know he's not like prolific, but he does pop up with important goals, and hopefully, if he can continue to keep a run in the team as well, we've seen that it helps the club because, as we say, he's unbeaten every time he starts. But the more goals we can get Gary, the better. And he does sometimes obviously have to come deep to try and get the ball, but but he's such a hard worker that within seconds he's then back in the box. Like he's not like one of these lazy bastards who just kind of comes deep, plays it away, and then that strolls back. He's bursting a gut to get back into the box.
Yeah, he starts next week, doesn't he, Elsa?
Definitely for me anyway.
Yeah. I don't think there's any argument from anyone on that. Then, as I said, Brian Graham got sent off. Now, there's been, I think personally it was a soft second yellow for him. He's just mistimed his challenge, had a swipe. I don't think it was a second yellow, but at the same time, I think he was a silly boy because I think he talked himself into the yellow card. What did you think, Ross?
I think if he hadn't have been booked and then been mouthy, I don't think he would have got a booking.
I think that as well. I think the referees went, do you know what? See you later. Human behaviour plays into it. It doesn't matter how neutral you can be. Human behaviour always play into it. And if Brian Graham has been talking back, and Brian Graham does that. I mean, he does it to every referee. Lovely guy, but I like Brian. Has done stuff at Super Scoreboard and stuff. He's a lovely guy, Brian, but you can just tell he's got that in him. You know what I mean? And he talked. I think he talked himself into the red card. Elsa, did you think it was a second yellow, or did you?
No, but I was the same. I don't know if you noticed when the penalty, when the ref tries to get them out of the box and out the D, he never shut up. He was at it the whole time, and I remember turning around to Fiora and saying, he's going to get himself talked into the book here. Because I thought he's only going to have to say one more thing at the ref, and the ref's going to say you off. When the tackle was made, I thought that's no yellow card, and I did wonder whether or not it was the scent that had caused it rather than the tackle. Had he said something at the time?
Yeah.
I agree. I think the human behaviour, the human nature kicks in as well, and he's had a go at the ref and the lino quite excessive. And like obviously we sit pretty close to where the first incident started, and he was constantly at it, as was their assistant manager. I don't know what his name is, but they were constantly at it. And he's just a silly laddie, because if he doesn't make any rash challenges for probably 10-15 minutes, he's probably just going to sit on that booking, and because he'll have calmed down half time when I came, he would have been fine, but he didn't. And there's a lot of Thistle fans blaming Brian Graham. But for the ones who are blaming the ref, I think you need to look a bit closer to home.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. Obviously, I think Chris Dillon's under. We spoke to David, obviously, from Draw Lose Draw on the podcast last week. Chris Dillon, as he said, is under a bit of pressure, and he's on a 12-month rolling contract. And you wonder, come the end of the season, because I think after yesterday's results, that's Thistle out of it now. I think it's a 3-horse race now. Thistle had to win yesterday to have a sniff at winning the league. So I think it's a 3-horse race for the league. But I think that result, and if like David said last week, if Chris Dillon ends up, in the playoffs, Queen's Park might come out after getting that boost against Rangers today. They might come back into it, but I think Brian Graham could potentially be the next Thistle manager. I know he's come. I think he's come close. I think he applied for the Wraith job, maybe. And I think he's maybe come close in a couple of jobs. He's obviously, maybe he's eyeing up the Scotland Women's manager job as well, because he's done so well. But he'll certainly, I would think, be in contention for the Thistle job if it comes up. Yeah, absolutely. Although the fans, I think, seem to be less convinced by him. Remember, he missed a penalty last week after demanding it as well.
He did. And what are they now, 13 points behind ourselves? We obviously have a game played less than them. For me, they're out of the title race.
I think any Thistle supporter would say they're out of the title race. It's whether they can hold. If they show the form. Thistle. You can never tell because twice we played them at home, they both went down. They went down to 10 men in both occasions, so you can't really tell. I thought we murdered them. We absolutely melted them when we played them at Firhill. Watching that game back, one of the best performances Falkirk had this season. We came away with just a point, which was absolute criminal. But they've got some good players. I thought Scott Martin. I didn't really notice him in the game, and they always rely on Stuart Bannigan, and Stuart Bannigan.
I was going to say that, John. I thought Bannigan was the one player of theirs that still motored up and down. Yeah. They could have, especially when you think of McCann's goal, the defender who was trying to defend that, you could see him literally wilt when the goal went in, but Bannigan never gave up. Yeah. And I thought, good on you, son. You didn't give up. You didn't throw the towel in. He kept motoring up and geeing the others up.
I do think the midfield are all right. Like Turner as well, I think, at midfield. And Logan Chalmers, who we mentioned earlier on, he seems to be in a wee purple patch at the moment. But yeah, it was. I think this will be disappointed. Obviously, like you say, Ross, they're disappointed in the sending off of Graham. But again, I think, he just talked himself into that second yell. So, but good result for us because I always back Falkirk. People say it's hard to play 10 men, but see the style we play in that 4-3-3. I always think if a team go against 10 down to 10 against Falkirk, hell mend you, because the way we move the ball, I think it must be a nightmare to play 10 against us.
I think so as well, because we find space in such a tight parts of the game. So the fact that we obviously got a goal fairly quick after that, and again, some fantastic play between Keelan Adams, Dylan Tate, and Ethan Ross before the man of the day popped up again.
And Elsa, again, it was a very similar goal to the first one, and it was just again that level, the next level of footballer at the club, and just the finish is just beautiful.
You just thought it's going to come to me, almost stop breathing because you're waiting to see what he's going to do with it. It was almost like a carbon copy, and you just don't know if you're actually dreaming. I know you're kind of pinching yourself at that point to go, is this really happening? Is this really happening?
I know. And it could have been even more for half time. Great Luke Graham. Would have been a dream for him coming across from the left backs from his left back position to almost get a header in as well. But yeah, it ends up going into the break. It's 3-2 to the Bairns, and I guess it's second half. You're thinking. I at that point thought if we just get an early goal, it could be anything. I was actually just walked away disappointed with just the 5-2 because I thought it could have been anything from there on in, and we did get the next goal, which was obviously the penalty, and this time there was only one man that was going to take it, wasn't there? After Spencer had his save from, and it was brilliant. It was just unbelievable. Roy the Rovers stuff. It was brilliant.
That particular penalty for me was the one that almost felt like I could see him with the white sleeves on, the white long sleeves, and before he, and banging the ball in, and he doesn't look like he's going to spank it, but he does. It just absolutely flies into the net, and I was like, oh man! And when they started singing "He's One of Our Own," I actually started greeting. I couldn't sing.
I love that as well, and I think that so many people, if not the entire home support, got really emotional yesterday at various points. But see, for me as well, see when you watch it back, see when he does his run up for the penalty, it was the same. It's the same run up from the Dunfermline semi-final.
It was. It was the same. It was the same place it went as well, wasn't it?
It was perfect, and the fact that he could have had more, which I know we'll talk about in a second. He nearly had a fourth goal, but for him to get his hat trick yesterday, it just topped off that perfect situation that we found ourselves in yesterday. And because obviously we were all emotional after watching his his interview earlier in the week as well, which I think every single Falkirk fan that watched it was just like, wow, this is it. And I've got a question for you, right? I know we've got loads to still talk about, but if he's obviously came back, he wants to make up for 2010. If he takes us up with this team this year, is he then part of the? Well, it wouldn't be the Holy Trinity.
Be the Holy Square. I'm on board, mate.
I just think he's done so much for the club.
That's a rhetorical question, eh, Ross? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, the question was put to me, right, and I just think, and the phrase that was said to me, was given to me, was the Falkirk Mount Rushmore.
Do you know what? I think yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think from our lifetime, I mean, I think when you speak to an older generation, Alex Parker, players like that will be on that. But for our generation, being a 44-year-old man following Falkirk, I think we're all of similar vintage in this room just now. It goes
Some
on.
of us might be a wee bit older, but that's okay.
Well, it's okay. Also, we didn't mention your birthday earlier on. It's fine. But I think for me, it goes onto that Mount Rushmore. I really do. I think he maybe gets Yogi's place in that Mount Rushmore for me, because it's Latape, Stainrod, McAllister. At the moment, for me, it's Yogi. But I think if that was to happen, Arfield, Yogi gets scrubbed out. Scotty goes up there.
He's in both. Like, granted, he's only one game into this spell, right? But he obviously played a huge part of his football career with us before. I just think with the passion that he's got, with the ability that he's got, where he's been. Going old John Collins, he's done things, he's seen things and stuff, right? I just think if he could take us up, what a fantastic finish.
I'm just going to put the buffers on the Wayne train for a minute and come in as Dad said, one game. Let's just remember it's one game. Okay. All
right, Eeyore.
Right. Hat trick, unbelievable. Just scenes. No better debut than that. It's just written in the stars. Comes off to the ovation. I want to talk about the subs actually, because I think again you saw in the subs the bit between your teeth. I thought Darrell O'Connor when he came on. Yes, he looked like a player. I was obviously gutted my man didn't get on, but I thought when Darrell O'Connor came on, I thought, oh. He's good. I thought Finn Yeats when he came on, and the sub that I think we'll talk about is Leon McCann, who I was calling for at half time when me and Ross had our argument. And you're a big fan of Leon. Again, it looks like he had the bit between his teeth as well, Elsa.
Yeah, I love McCann. I just think for me, he's one of those players. I know it took him a bit to get into the squad. He had to kind of convince McGlynn that he was worth it, but he was never any less than a 7 out of 10. Yeah, we had a couple of games where he maybe was off the boil, but he's got a lot of heart, that lad. A lot of heart. And
no, he does.
The way he plays, he's not fancy. He just does the simple stuff well, and you can trust him. He's not going to let you down. And I don't mean anything about Sean Mackey, but there's times when I think Sean's got a wee bit of,
he's got the nickname Saki for a reason.
Correct. So for me, I love McCann. I do, and I was glad to see him get a goal as well, because he never got his goal last season. So that was just lovely. That was really good.
Straw poll here, then, right? Because I agree. I love Leon as well. I think he's got so much to his game attack wise, and his defensive is came on leaps and bounds from when he first got over. But quick straw poll. We're obviously playing Ayr next week. They're a big team again, right? Will Luke retain his left back position? Or will it be Leon?
It will be Leon.
Has to be Leon.
You have to make a decision on that.
I don't think it's as clear cut. I know you.
Did you hear John John's interview after the match?
I did. But he's
Leon will start next week.
Who would be your back four then, Ross? Who would you put in as your back?
I just think his reasoning for playing him yesterday won't be any different next Saturday, because his justification was that he needed the height. Now,
but who may have got in the wing? Does Jay Henderson play on the right wing for?
But that's not why he played him, though. Remember, he played him.
But Jay Henderson's a different type of player. He's fast. He's nippy. This is what you've got to look in for. Now, I think Ross, maybe in a game against Livingston, maybe you put Luke Graham out at left back. on yesterday's display, I don't know if that's would be a thing for me.
You don't think he did very well for not being a left back, though?
But you've answered your own question. You've answered your own question.
He's not a left back.
Exactly, he's not a left back. That's why you don't play him at left back. You play a left back at left back.
I'm going to say something, right? I think Luke Graham has to be in a starting 11. There, I've said it. He has to be.
Right, so you put him in the centre half where he plays. Where he's standing. So who do you drop? You drop the captain.
No, you don't, and you don't drop Hendo either.
So do you play with 3?
No, you play him at left back.
You don't play him at left back. Now this is the problem, right? Yesterday, I think, was a great example of trying to get your best players into a team, right?
Right.
Luke Graham undoubtedly is a very good footballer and a brilliant centre half. But for me, it was a square peg in a round hole yesterday. And that for me was like an argument. You don't just try and squeeze your best players into a team. You play the positions. Leon McCann starts all day long next.
I'm not saying I wouldn't want Leon, because I do like him, and I've been really vocal that I think he's a really good fullback.
That's what I had to deal with yesterday.
No,
by the way,
my point was he played Luke Graham yesterday because of his height and because he's a quality player.
I can see the logic, Wayne. I can't. I think I can see the logic he's saying there, Ross. I think for me, I still think though it's weighing up what you don't get. And you don't get a left back who's played at left back for a number of years and understands the position. Yeah, you'll get some height. Yeah, you'll get some other stuff from.
What are you talking about? We don't need height. Leon scored with a header yesterday.
Well, this was the other thing I was going to say. For a wee man, that guy can jump. We've seen it over the last 3 seasons. Let's be honest. He can rise above it. So for me, it's got him in McCann. Or we need to change formation and go to a back 3.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree with Elsa on this, Ross. You're losing this battle with us. I'm sure the listeners will have their opinions on this as well.
Favourite. Oh, sorry.
The listeners will have their opinion on this as well, Ross. But it's Leon McCann starts. It's the same team, but with Leon instead of Luke, and Luke goes to the bench. For me, unless you drop Call, and I don't think you drop Call because he's your captain. And he had again Call has not done much wrong. I don't think he did anything wrong yesterday. I don't think he did anything wrong against Livingston.
I don't think there was a failure yesterday.
No,
I genuinely don't.
There wasn't. So Leo McCann gets a header, unbelievable. The smallest man in the park in some ways. Gets a brilliant header at the back post. Great again, Calvin Miller. We've not really talked about Calvin Miller's performance yesterday. Again, he got man of the match against Livingston. He was excellent again yesterday on that right hand side, where I've been very critical that he should be playing on the left, but I think he's contributed so much on that right hand side. Interested to see what I want to see Miller Thompson. I've heard such good things about Miller Thompson. And Ethan, he had that wee shot where he cut inside and almost came off for him. But Ethan is just a wee bit off it. Still a wee bit off it.
Do you think he gets the rub of the green with the refs?
Ethan?
Yeah. I think the guy gets kicked a lot. And I think he draws more fouls than he actually gets awarded. I'm looking through navy blue tinted specs. I just thought it was the same again yesterday. Certainly come up against some of these physical teams because he's fast, because he's very direct. You just see it, they're at him all the time.
Yeah.
And a couple of times yesterday we didn't get fouls that I thought we should have got, and that's not the first time I've seen that. I was going to ask your opinion because I don't know if it was just me that sees it that way.
No, I think you're right, Elsa. I think you're right, Ross.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan. I agree. I don't think there'll be too many changes. I wouldn't be dropping someone on the basis of that. I think Ethan Ross is somebody who else, like Elsa says, he creates opportunities for others. He draws fouls. He gets us in positions that, like, he drives at players. And him and
I think he just needs a goal. I think he just needs a goal. I
think he had brilliant opportunities yesterday. There was at least 2 that I've got in my head, and it looked like they were just a whisker away from going in. So he's always there or thereabouts. He creates an awful lot of issues for defenders, and it would be amazing for him to get a goal very, very soon. But the whole Calvin or Ethan and moving Calvin over. Calvin continues to impress at right wing, and how many assists did he get yesterday? 1 anyway, maybe 2.
Yeah.
2. So
his numbers
he must have the most assists. He genuinely must have the most assists in our team.
In the I think he'd probably the championship, mate.
And that's from the wrong side. And did he not have the most assists in League One last year as well? Didn't he?
Yeah.
So
No, he's a great footballer, Calvin Miller. Great to have him in the team as well. And Leon could have had two. Just that big hit, he put the laces through that. Imagine if that had flown in for wee Leon. Unbelievable. But I thought he had the bit between his teeth when he came off the bench. He had a point to prove. And again, I think that comes back to the fact that centre half was playing at left back, and he came on and said, "Right, no, I'm a left back, pal. I'll show you what a left back does." And I thought he really had the bit between his teeth. And like I say, wee man getting a header. Leon McCann's never scored a header in his life, I would say, until yesterday. Someone will correct me on that, but that's his second. Only we were talking about the pub, second goal for Falkirk. Remember, he scored that Messi-esque solo goal randomly. I think it was against Montrose, where he darted. It was a couple of seasons ago. It was unbelievable. But no, I'm great to see Leon, and I'm a big fan of Leon McCann, as you are as well, Elsa. But yeah, it was the Arfield show yesterday. It was just a privilege, an absolute privilege to watch it, and it'll long live in one of the finest memories of that stadium. So far, I mean, there's a couple. It goes in the top 10, I think. At that first goal, goes in the top 10 of the best moments in that stadium. Maybe the top 5, Ross.
Could well be. It was a magical moment when the emotion from the week had all been building. It was like the return of Crunchy back in the day from Chelsea and what have you. I just think it's in my top. Probably my top 5 moments in the stadium, actually. And I've now watched football for Falkirk anyway. I've now watched this longer at Falkirk Stadium than I did at Brockville.
That's the same, depressing, isn't it?
So it's quite scary.
Yeah. Well, let's hear what John McGuinn had to say after yesterday's match.
John, what an incredible performance out there today. You must be delighted with what you've seen.
Yeah, I am. I'm delighted. Yeah, great start to the game. The first minute for Scott to sign on Tuesday, train with us a few days, and then just be in the right place at the right time, and so composed in his finish. Two of his, from open play goals were great finishes. Absolutely, the boys have got so much to learn from him in the way that he did that. We've been in the same positions and hitting Rosette and no hitting the target, and he just calmly, finishes them off. But I thought it was a great game, to be honest with you. I thought it was a great game up until the sending off. Sending off does change the game, but I think we go one up. We're looking very good. We're looking like we're going to add more to it. We're kind of buzzing. We get caught out, very, very quickly, just within nothing at all. But we've got to defend it better. Logan Chalmers finishes it off really, really well. He's got one bite of the cherry, puts it right in the bottom corner. Textbooks finish, but poor defending from our point of view. No particularly happy about that. And again, we're back at it again. We're probing, trying to get through. Sometimes getting through, sometimes just no getting the finish. And then again, goalkeeper kick out, it breaks. To be fair, Logan Chalmers go down this outside, look, the ball in the box, and Brian Graham done what he's done all his life. He just gets across the front of defenders. Great finish. It's an amazing finish. But poor defending, So we find ourselves 2-1 down, having had a really, really good start to the game. But again, we're at it. We get brought down in the box. Brad, steps up as he's done all season. Mitchell saves it. But fair play to Gary Oliver, he's very sharp, he's in there, he finishes it off when we're back level. And I think at that point in time it's an amazing game. I think there's two really, really good football teams on the pitch, and it's a really, really good game of football. Brian, I'm not a referee, and I'm not going to get involved in that, but he picks up a couple of yellow cards, and it kind of changes the thing. We get a goal, again, Scotty's, we get that other goal, Scotty's second finish, and 3-2 at half time, you're in a really good position. Party down to 10 men, we're kind of buzzing again, and we're flowing, and we'd be very, very professional in the second half to add another couple of goals. Delighted for Leon McCann. He comes off the bench. Leon's not the tallest, as everyone knows, but ends up in the box. A really good ball in, I think it was Brad, and a really good header. So delighted. Scotty's wrapped up his hat trick, a wee bit of match ball. When you sign somebody like Scotty at the beginning of the week, and a game like that, then you're delighted over the moon. So Yeah, a good 3 points. Bounced back again from last week's disappointment, and we're ready to go against Ayr next week.
There you are. Ready to go against Ayr next week. Bring it on. But will Luke Graham be playing left back? That's the question. John did go on to get Adam did go on to ask him about that thing. He did say, "Well, we tried it."
Yeah, exactly. He did. He tried it, but for me, I know I've said this already, but he obviously justified why he tried it because he felt he needed them both defensively and offensively from a height perspective. It'd be interesting to see what he does because I think Luke's a quality player. In an ideal world, you have him in your starting 11. But as you say, we have 5 or 6 people who can play at centre half, and you can only play 2. So
you got to feel sorry for Aidan Nez, but obviously Scott Arfield's come in, and Aidan we know has been a brilliant player for Falkirk, outstanding. Yep. You've got to feel sorry for Aidan sitting on the bench, but again, when you've got that size of squad and the quality of squad we've got now, people are going to miss out, which is really disappointing. You wish you could play them all. Right, okay, let's get into what you guys are saying about the game yesterday. Andrew Yule kicks us off saying the boys are back in town. Scotty was excellent both on the ball and off it. Keelan had a great game, buzzing to see Leon get a goal. Red card all day long, and at one point I thought we would see another Partick red. On to Ayr now. Come on, ye Bairns.
Indeed. Stuart Bailey says that top has grown on me. It could just be the Arfield effect, however.
That, by the way, whoever in the marketing team decided on Scott Arfield's return, we're going to put on the heritage top, has just sold hundreds of those units because at this point they weren't shifting a lot. But now Scott Arfield has re-debuted in the heritage top. I will guarantee that this week the sales of the heritage top are going to increase somewhat because everyone has complained about it, and now
maybe they should just pre-print them all with Arfield 37 on the back.
maybe, but now I'm starting going, actually, I don't mind that.
Come on.
I was sitting yesterday going, I don't actually. It's all right. It's all right.
You're on the post Scott Arfield come down. That's why you're still all happy after yesterday.
You're sitting on his cloud in a wee zen moment rather than under getting piss wet through with the
rain. Paul Fulton's next up. He says, brilliant stuff, stadium buzzing, good play throughout, players with smiles on their faces, outstanding, and Scotty's back.
Indeed. Martin says the midfield 3 were excellent today. Yep. Graham needs time to adapt if he's going to remain at left back, but he was still a 7 out of 10. Arfield doing exactly what I expected him to do. Fantastic.
Ross has put the pack together, so he's intentionally put that comment in just to wind me up. I think Dylan Tate, like I said earlier on, Dylan Tate, Brad Spencer, I thought were back to their best. Yes, it was great to see, especially Brad. I thought was outstanding yesterday. Ryan says couldn't have written a better debut for Arfield, who absolutely strolled it. Excellent team performance. Oliver was immense up top, and Calvin and Ethan were both superb. Tate and Spencer both back at it. Adams was excellent. We played some beautiful stuff.
We did. Danny Burns, simply irresistible once we got going after letting them back into the game. The full team were excellent.
John Harding, the finishes for both Arfield goals were classy. What a performance. We played better when Oliver starts. His link-up play was excellent. It really was. Also a special mention to Keelan. Thought he had a really good game and looked much more composed in the last month or two. What a day.
Indeed. Caroline Peacock chips in, however, with why was Ladies' Day last week? It's a good point, Caroline. Good point.
True. Craig Hamilton, Scotty Arfield gets plaudits, and rightly so, but we should recognise the job that Oliver did up top today. Superb shift. Brad and Dylan looked like they'd found their stride again, played some superb football in the second half. Bring on the Ayr.
Indeed. Lulu, I don't think it's the Lulu, but Lulu says, gave away another couple of poor goals, and this needs addressing. We can't continue gifting teams. That being said, we played some sexy football, and we go back to the top. In McGlynn, we trust.
If it was Lulu, she'd want a shout out, wouldn't she? And finally...
Well.
And finally...
This is where all the ultras are going, who the fuck's Lulu?
I think we're going to get warmed up for the Falkirk Daft live night, you know? Get a wee Lulu song.
Oh yeah. Well, we're under discussion. I've got an idea for the Falkirk Daft. Last it was Elton and Kiki last time. I've got an idea for this time. It might go down like shit, but
Can I just say, we won't say what the idea is yet, but it's worse than us opening Tesco's in Lamberton.
And finally, Stevie Cliff says, "Can we book Wigfield for Trophy Day now? Because I'm all aboard the Wayne train." What a shout that is! But imagine if Wigfield if we do win the league, we've got a couple of weeks to go. Get it booked. Wigfield PA at half time doing Saturday night. I mean, she can't be that much.
I've got a story about Wigfield. Are you ready for it?
Right.
So when I was a student in Edinburgh, Wigfield was playing. Do you remember the club called Eros and Elite?
Yes, I did a couple of shifts there.
Did you? Oh, well, there you go. So she was doing a student night in Eros and Elite, and I decided to try and hit on her when I was about 17 or whatever, like 17 or 18, whatever age she was, and it didn't end well. So
what did she say to you?
I can't actually recall, but I just the face was like fuck off.
Right. I'm on to our booking agent right now, so I've got Darryl Wild, who's our booking agent. We can WhatsApp Darryl, and that's Darryl at activetalentagency.com. So we're on it. And do you know Wigfield's real name is Sanny Charlotte Carlson? There you go. Brilliant. Get Wigfield booked. If we do win the league, get Wigfield booked. It's happening. Listen, if we have to take all the profits from Falkirk Daft and book Wigfield, it is happening, Ross.
Is this the money that we're keeping for the open top bus?
yeah. Fuck the open top bus. We're booking Wigfield.
Whoa. Can't do that.
Right. So Wigfield for the end of the season. Right, Falkirk Daft rate. Is there any point even having this conversation? Let's just put Scott Arfield down, will we?
Yeah, we just put Scott Arfield down and then Brian Graham as the Dafty.
That's exactly what I was going to say for the Dafty.
Yeah. Right, so there we go. Scott Arfield. I think that's the easiest Falkirk Daft and Falkirk Dafty we've had always. So Brian Graham's the Dafty, Scott Arfield. First one for him. I'm sure it's not going to be the last one. We've got at the moment in the lead. Liam Henderson's got 3. Alfie Acumen's got 3 as well. So those are the 2 that are in the lead at the moment. So there's still time to keep. Dylan Tate's got 3 as well. So there's a 3-way tie at the top of the Falkirk Daft rated board.
Speaking of the number 3, that is also the same number of goals Scott Arfield has, obviously, and it's the same number that Callum. What was the guy who used to play with us again? Callum. Morrison, was that was his name?
Yeah.
He only got 3 as well, so Scotty's already tied.
Yeah, there you go. So well done, Scott Arfield. Falkirk Daft rated and the Dafty. Poor old Brian Graham. I'll be interesting. I don't know if he's not been in for a shift at Super Scoreboard in a while, but I'll have an interesting conversation with him next time he comes in, I think. So, Brian, so what happened there? Can you talk us through it? But yeah. Right, okay then. Before you go, Elsa, I'm thinking, has Elsa done this before? I don't think she has.
Yeah. In
the studio in the 100th episode. Right, so it's again. It is time for Falkirk Daft versus.
Oh no!
Is it 14-3 to us, Ross?
It might be 15-3 now.
I think it might be 15-3 to us.
I'm not but I swear to God, I'm not sure I'm going to get very far with this. But we'll see.
For the live show, we've got something special to do at the live show as well for Falkirk Daft versus that. If you're coming to the live show, we'll keep that up our sleeve just now. I think it should be good fun if we can pull it off. But right, let's get into this week's Falkirk Daft. You know how it works then, Elsa. You've done it before. Yeah. 5 questions on Falkirk, penalty shootout style. Ross is going to write down his answer. I'll ask you to give me your answer, and Ross to show his. Okay, so question number 1. It's a nice easy one to start off with. What club did Scott Arfield leave Falkirk for originally? What club did Scott Arfield leave Falkirk for originally? Ross is writing down his answer and he's going to show it to me in a minute. You got an answer, Elsa? Great. Ross, you writing it down?
Alright, it's quite a lengthy one, so just
right, show your answer. Sorry, Elsa. Huddersfield. Ross.
Yeah, Huddersfield Town.
That's quite good. You did join up right in there as well, Ross.
And you know Huddersfield Town to show off as well. So 1-1. Right, okay. Right, next question. It's a 50-50 ball, this one. Who had a higher win percentage as manager? Paul Hartley or John Hughes? Who had a higher win percentage as manager, Paul Hartley or John Hughes?
It feels like it's obvious, and it should be obvious, but I'm wondering. John Hughes obviously played in a tougher league.
Oh, you're doing that thing that they do in quiz shows where you're showing your thinking, Ross. I like that. They do that in the quiz shows, don't they? You get an answer from them. They go, well, I think this and I think that. Right, okay, you've written down your answer. Elsa, what are you going for?
I'm actually going to go for Hartley. I hate to say it. I'm sure the first when he took over from Houston, I think his win rate was something ridiculous for the rest of that season until he tore the team apart and put some muppets in. I'm going to go for that. I'm going to go for Hartley.
Ross,
I've went for Yogi. I probably is Elsa's, but I just couldn't write Paul Hartley's name on it.
Well, one of them has a 41.46 percentage, and the other one slightly lower. And the answer, and correct, is Elsa. It's Paul Hartley's got a better win percentage than Yogi.
Yeah, listen, Yogi.
You're thinking, the thinking was obviously Yogi played in the Premier League, mate. So that's why his win percentage is a lot lower.
I just couldn't write Paul Hartley's name.
I can understand that. You'd have had to have it fumigated.
Yeah. 2-1 Elsa, though. There you go. Right, on to the next question now. And that question is, which team has Caelan McCrone went on loan to? Which team's Caelan McCrone went on loan to this week?
Oh.
Ross is writing it down. Elsa, have a think about it. You've read it and it's just went through out your memory, Elsa, I'm presuming.
Aye. I'm having a brain fart. I have these all the time at my age.
You're desperate to give away your age off podcast. We'll be gentlemen and you'd like a desperate tell us.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm going to have to guess because I don't know what it is. I take it Ross has written the right answer.
Ross has written down an answer. What are you going for?
I know it's not right, but I'm going to say Montrose.
Ross?
I went for the strollers.
Civil service strollers is the correct answer. There we go.
Back in the game.
Back in the game. There you go. So 2-2. Right, name the ex-Bairn in the Ayr United first team squad. Which ex-Bairn is in the Ayr United first team squad for this Saturday coming? There's only one. Or this is the point that there's more than one, but I looked through the team squad and there's only one ex-Bairn that I can see that's in it in the Ayr first team squad.
You sure he's not injured?
He's injured, is he not?
Ayr first team squad. I didn't say about injury or that. I just said what is listed as the Ayr first.
You said he'd be in the squad this Saturday, and that can't be. Right.
Sorry, I meant Ayr first team squad. So you obviously both know the answer then.
I'm just trying to mind his name. I can see him.
Excellent.
Brain fart number 2. Oh man. Oh, I can see him. It's a striker, isn't it? The forward. Can't remember his name. It's a forward. I'm going to say... No, it's not in my head. Sorry, Ross.
Right, Ross, have you written...
I went with a puffy wee shite, Anton Dowds.
Aye, Dowds. I had OW somewhere, but I didn't know what his name was.
Well, in that case, there is 2 ex-Bairns in the first team squad and one will be... So I fucked up. The other one, can you get the other one? That is correct, Ross. The other one...
hang fire.
There's another Bairn in that Ayr first team squad. Friend of the podcast.
Friend of the podcast?
Well, he's kind of a friend of a podcast. We'll speak to him now and again.
Oh, Robbie Much.
Robbie Much.
Oh,
Robbie Much. But Anton Downs is correct. I'll give you that one. First team squad. Right. Okay, brilliant. All right, so it's 3-2 to Ross.
And Elsa needs this one, doesn't she?
Elsa needs this one to take it to time. Need to slip up. Here we go. The final question is, what is the name of the current goalkeeping coach at Falkirk FC? What is the name of the current goalkeeping coach at Falkirk FC?
I'm done.
Oh, Jesus. I'll take a guess.
He's on the bench every single week. He warms up Nicky, warms up Ross.
I don't know if I've dreamt this name, but I'll share it in a second.
Right, okay. Elsie, you got a name for me?
No, I haven't. Yeah. Sorry.
This is for Ross. So you've effectively won, Ross. So this is just to show off what you got.
Is it Alex Cannon?
You're absolutely 100% correct. It is Alex Cannon. Well done, Ross. Well done. It's a 4-2 win and another victory for the Falkirk Daft boys. Well done, Ross. I'm impressed by you today. Fantastic. Brilliant. Elsa, thanks as ever for joining us. You're always my favourite. You know that. I might not be your favourite, but you're my favourite.
A special place in my heart, though, John, next to Scott. That's all right.
I know. Hopefully,
can I make a wee mention if it's all right? There's a lovely man in the main stand, and I go and get my cup of tea at the concession when I come in every Saturday, and he comes and says hello to me and says, when am I going back in the podcast? And I don't know his name and I feel really bad.
I think I know this man.
He says to me, I'm trying to get my son to say he wants to go in because he says, I know all the old players. And he says, they're not going to want me to talk about the old players. Says, just come on, it's fine.
I think the man you're speaking to, because I met him in the pub and he's the dad of my friend, because he says he's met you a couple of times in the stand, and it's Brian Johnston.
So
I think that because I was in the pub with him, he bought me a pint. Thank you very much, Brian, last night as well. But he listens to the podcast, watches the podcast every week, and I think it's Brian that you're talking about, Elsa. So shout out to Brian. He's a great guy. He's a great pal's my dad's. It's my pal's dad, Barry. So he did mention you. He said. Elsa's coming on the podcast this week, and she goes, I love her, and I was like,
such a lovely man. He always says hello, and I feel bad. I've not even asked him his name, and I never saw him yesterday. So there we go. Thank you, boys. I really appreciate it.
I think it
lovely. Thank you. I love coming on. I wish there was a few more of the girls would come on because there's a lot of that. Girls come on,
there's a few of them that listen. There's a few of them. I'm looking at people that get in touch with the podcast regularly. Ali being one of them, Yvonne being the other one that I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, let's get some more of the girls on. Ruby, Ashley, I would like to see all these girls coming on the podcast. It's absolutely girl power. We want it on the podcast because you're my favourite, Elsa.
Thanks, John.
No one will ever replace that. Listen, if you want to do a bit of guest pundit, please come on. We'd love to hear from you. Pundit at falkirkdaft.co.uk or slide into our DMs. That would be wonderful.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall. Stay local. Eat and drink global.
Before we look at Ayr, let's say thank you to our other sponsor of the podcast, our friends at Behind the Wall. Stay local, eat and drink global. I was in there last night. I was drinking the Falkirk Daft Venoms. Back to his marvellous navy blue colour as well. Love to see that. And I've got the straws back in with him as well, Ross, so I was delighted to see that.
Excellent. Always good.
So you get the full shebang. Brian, like we said, has sold over 1,000 of those so far. And we've got a big announcement actually on that coming really, really soon about that. So yeah, thanks to Brian and all the guys at Behind the Wall. It is the best pub in Falkirk. It's brilliant. Fine wines, lagers, craft and cask ales. I took complete advantage of the 50-50 tickets. You know how you get £1 off your drink with 50-50 tickets?
Were you not hoovering out off people in this?
I was hoovering them yesterday because I was like, I'm going back to Behind the Wall. A lot of the people weren't going to Behind the Wall, so I was like, can I have your 50-50 ticket, please? So I got my Falkirk Daft Venom at knocked off price as a result of that. So it was a good night Behind the Wall last night. I got a great chat. And far along there for the home games, because they do the best offer in the town. £5 gets you a bus down to the ground, and it gets you a pint back at the pub afterwards as well. I still think they're taking names for their bus is full. But the Greenock bus, I think there's still a few spaces on that, Ross, isn't there?
Just a few, yeah. So if you're intending to go to the Greenock Morton away game, which is a week on Friday, get in touch with the bar. £12.50 for Greenock. However, as you said, John, you'll get your £5. You get your free drinks voucher on the way back. So you're about £7.50 return to Greenock. It's pretty good value.
I went down a wormhole of YouTube when I was sitting having a beer on Friday night of this mad guy who goes and reviews pubs around. He's an English guy who goes and reviews pubs, like really dodgy pubs. And he was in Port Glasgow in Greenock, a bar called The Comet. And it was one in Greenock, but like...
That was out of this world.
Hey, but no, I went down this wormhole of pubs in Greenock, but it doesn't look like a great place to go and drink. So go and drink it Behind the Wall beforehand. Get the bus to the ground, get the bus back, get your pint at the bar once you get back to Behind the Wall. And we've got loads of live entertainment coming up. Behindthewall.co.uk is where you can check out all of that. Valentine sharing platters are available this week, and PG Kia, I'm going to try and pronounce this, PGK Arleta is performing on Valentine's Day as well in the pub, and you can get your sharing platters. Maybe we should pop along for one.
Shall we do that after Tesco, shall we?
Do that after Tesco's.
A romantic breakfast and behind the wall.
Yep, absolutely. And when the rugby's on, in Scotland are playing, it's £3.95 for a Guinness. Fantastic. And big news on the Guinness front is you can have the Falkirk Daft logo put on top of your Guinness. Which is amazing. My mind has been blown by this. I don't know. I was asking Scotty at the bar yesterday, how does that work? He says, well, I don't know. But I can't remember the name of the young lad. It's a big lad. He's buying it. It's just basically you can put JPEGs on any kind of JPEG or PNG file. You can put it into this machine. It'll print on top of your Guinness. So what he's been doing is getting pictures of Yoda and putting on people's Guinness, like all these old guys coming in and suddenly go back to the Guinness and, oh, what the fuck is this? A picture of Yoda on my pint of Guinness, which I absolutely love. But see, when you get a pint of Guinness, £3.95 when the rugby's on during the Six Nations when Scotland are playing. Get a Falkirk Daft and send us a picture of it, because it's blown my mind that you can now get a Falkirk Daft logo on top of your Guinness. And I'm a Guinness drinker, but it's downstairs and I was upstairs last night, so I couldn't get it. So, but brilliant. Do that behind the wall and send us a picture. Please do that and get along there for all the stuff that's going on there, and check out behindthewall.co.uk. Right, let's talk about Ayr. Usually we get a guest on at this time. I'm trying to read it. There's unbelievably no Ayr fans podcast. I noticed the club actually started one this week, and I reached out to the Ayr Post as well, and they didn't get back to me. So if you know an Ayr supporter for the next game, please let us know, because I think I love getting the insight from the fans and where the team's at. And Ayr certainly, I tipped them for the week actually at the start of the season, and they had a wee stutter, Ross, but they certainly are all over it now.
Yep, they're on a really good run of form in the league, undefeated in 2025, which is a brilliant thing for them to do so far. Obviously, we hope that will come to an end next Saturday. He's done well. They've done well. They're there or thereabouts. It'll be nip and tuck, I'm sure, between now and May, and it's exciting. But yeah, I just feel that we do it. Like, I know they've obviously got a really strong starting 11, but I think our squad, especially after the last 7 days, maybe just pips the quality overall.
I would agree with that. I'm sure George Oakley will get a fantastic reception when he walks into the Falkirk Stadium after being a cheating bastard the last time. And we can officially say he was cheating because he was found out for it.
There's another reason Luke Graham needs to play, so it hammers him.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure he'll be getting targeted by the team. And they've got good players there. There's no beating about the bush. When you look at George Oakley in the far part, Curtis Main, I thought was I don't know if he's scored for them yet or he's had a chance, but Curtis Main is a player that's always impressed me when he's been at Dundee, and I thought actually when I saw that it was a good sign.
I can't believe they've named a stand after him already as well.
Fucking hell. Right. Cole McKinnon came in for Rangers, very highly thought of there, and they've got defender Lenny Agbear. I don't know much about him. He's coming from Celtic.
He's a big lad. I saw him against Hibs on Friday night. He's a big lad at the back, but yeah. No, they've made some good signings in January, especially, as you said. Curtis Main, he's permanent deal.
Yeah,
as well from Dundee. So when they took George Oakley off on Friday night, that was the man that came on, and it's a decent replacement.
Yeah, they're a good side. They are a good side there. Very well coached, very well managed by Scott Brown. Obviously the focus is also because Scott Brown. It's like anytime an old firm manage anyone associated with the old firm, it's just a really easy in for the media. It's a huge game. It's probably arguably the biggest game in Scotland next weekend, I would say. But yeah, it's going to be tight. Ayr don't concede a lot of goals. They've drilled that defence now. I think I saw a stat. They've not conceded. They've not conceded a lot of goals. When you look down, they've conceded apart from Livingston actually. They've conceded the fewest goals in the league this season. So it's going to be a tough ask. It's going to be a big ask. And however, the answer is we go 5 points clear. If we win, we go 5 points clear. which is huge. Actually, if Livy were to win, they play Dunfermline next week. It would be 4 points clear because they go to 48 and we would go to 52.
Yes.
So Livingston, and then Livingston play Ayr the week after.
And we play the Friday night, which is before Livy and Ayr play. So if, I know it's all ifs, buts and maybes, but if we were to get a win against them on Saturday, as you said, John, it'd be 5 points. Potentially, if we were to then win our Friday night game against Morton, that's 8 points on the board. And I know we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but it's a huge opportunity in the next couple of weeks. It really is.
Yeah, it's huge. Come Saturday, massive game, absolutely massive game. Yesterday did us the world of good. We needed that. Yesterday because as we've all seen, we've had a bit of blip in form. I think ever since the last time we played there. Actually, we've had that wee bit. I mean, let's face fact, we've still only lost 4 games this season. But we've dropped points where we probably shouldn't have. It was a big hammer blow, that game against Livingston. A game that we should have at least got a draw out or at least got a point out of as well. So it's a huge game on Saturday. We
are scoring a lot as well though, and obviously we're the top scorers in the league. We're not far away from being one of the best defensive ones, as you said. Ayr and Livy are obviously, I think they've got 3 or 4 goals. They've shipped 3 or 4 goals less than we have. So you take that hammering off Ayr sort of away there, then, and we're all kind of there or thereabouts between the 3 teams from a defensive perspective. So let's just outscore them. Let's do that. And I know that sounds really simple, but we have the best.
It does sound simple, but obviously the worry is the defence is pretty solid. It's pretty well marshalled, that defence in Ayr. But let's just go and do what we do, and long may the Scotty Arfield show continue. Another hat trick on Saturday.
Do you know what I'd love? Well, it would be nice, but do you know what I'd also love? Because obviously there's that whole history between him and Scott Brown. I'd love Scotty to get the winner, and then just I know it's nice to go up to the ultras, but just go over to the dugout and then just salute the bastard from about 6 yards away. That would be perfect. It really would.
It would be beautiful. It would be a beautiful moment. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Going to be undoubtedly a tough game. Would you take a draw out of it, Ross, or do you think you need the 3 points?
No, I think if you want to win the league, you need to win your home games, regardless of whether it's Airdrie, Dunfermline, a couple of the poorer teams, or Ayr or Livy, and we've not beaten Livingston. So no, for me it has to be a win. Obviously, if it's a draw, we're not any worse off, right? I get it, but I think if you want to go on and win this league, you need to win your home games.
Yeah. What do you think the score will be?
Like you've said, I don't think it's going to be I don't think there's going to be a big margin in it, but I think there could be goals. I'm going to go 3-2 Falkirk.
3-2 Falkirk. Wow, I think I'll be really conservative. I think I'm going for a 1-0. I'm going for a 1-0 win for Falkirk. I just think Ayr are quite tight at the back. I think we'll be lucky to get away with a goal against them. 1-0 up the road. Boom. Scotty Arfield. I think it's someone else's score on Saturday, but I think it's a huge game, and I'm very nervous sitting here on a Sunday night, and I'm already nervous about it. So God knows what it'll be like come Saturday afternoon. But 3 o'clock at the stadium, like you say, there's only a couple of 100 tickets left, or just under 100 tickets left.
Yeah, under 100
the game. So get along at the stadium, support the Bairns, and fingers crossed that we come away with 3 points against Scott Brown's Ayr United.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall and the Falkirk football fans in training.
And that is it for this week's Falkirk Daft. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks to Elsa. I love Elsa. She's so good.
Brilliant. Yep, she's
so
fab.
Good. And like Elsa says, love to get more females on the podcast, because he's all hide away. Where are you? Come out. You all support Falkirk as well, and just scared of Ross and me. Just come on the podcast. It'd be great to have you on.
We're very gentle. We're very gentle.
We're very gentle. Please come on. It'd be great to have you on the show. Before we go, we've got to go to prove that you've got to this point in the podcast. We have to announce the Ruben Samu Roll of Honour. And well done for all the spellings on Ruben Samu, by the way. Michael, Paul, Joe, PJM, Elsa, Phil, Dave, Dell, Grant, Graham, Matt, Andy, Scott, John, Mark, Charlie, Cameron, Archie, and Logie, all on the Ruben Samut Roll of Honour. Have you got a name for us this week, Ross?
I do, and where I've got this one from is someone had sent us a picture of some programmes that they'd found from the mid-90s, and on the front cover of the programme was Dominic Eorfa.
Dominic Eorfa! What a player! Eorfa. Him and Tony Finnegan, I believe, signed on the same day under John Lambie. Dominic Eorfa scored in his debut?
He did, and I think Tony Finnegan may have as well. But Dominic
Eorfa scored that worldie. Tony Finnegan scored one of the best goals that has ever been seen at Brockville, where he smashed it with the right foot of his boot from like a really mental angle and outside the right boot, and it flew into the top bin. It was an unbelievable goal. But then rumours started that Tony Finnegan started sending his twin brother up to play in his behalf. Did you hear that rumour?
I remember that rumour. I doubt it's true. I
think Dominic Eorfa even got capped for Nigeria. I might be wrong in that. I think.
Well, he's got a son who plays.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah. I was watching a lower league English game and it came up Eorfa, and I did a quick Google on it. I was like, it's too coincidental. What's that?
I think he's called Dominic as well, from memory.
Yeah, it is. Dominic Eorfa is. So there's two Wikipedia. There's the footballer born 1995, and I'm presuming Dominic Eorfa, footballer born 1968, is our Dominic Eorfa.
Did you say 1995? That's when he was at Falkirk. I wonder if he had.
What's it?
A power away.
Aye, that's it. Right, hold on.
Rosie's toilet.
Dominic Eorfa played for Falkirk in 1996. So. Four games in 96, so we missed out.
Alright, so it would have been season 95.
Yeah. Is it? I mean, his boys had caps for England under 21s, and he's currently smashing it at Sheffield Wednesday. He's had 158 appearances for Sheffield Wednesday.
There you go.
Dominic Eorfa, anyway. What a player! What a player! A seasoned journeyman. I'm looking at the amount of clubs Dominic Eorfa had in 1998 alone. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clubs in 1998 alone.
That shouldn't be possible, but obviously it was. But
I don't know if it is, because in his Wikipedia it says he had a spell at Rangers, 3 goals for Rangers. I don't think that's true.
No, I don't think he did.
There you go.
Still winning Rangers, maybe, but not Rangers.
Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Dominic Eorfa, 4 caps for Nigeria. The only Nigerian, I would hazard to say, Nigerian international that's ever played for Falkirk. But there you go. Dominic Eorfa is the name that you need for next week to get a mention on the Roll of Honour. And thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. It's been some weekend. The game next week is huge. Who knows where we're going to be this time next week, but fingers crossed it is top of the league yet again, which we are just now. And until that time, what do we say, Ross?
Expect unexpected, buddy.
We'll see you at Tesco's.
We're Falkirk Daft, talking about the dark blues and having a bit of a laugh. We're Falkirk Daft. You can listen in the pub or you can listen in the bath. We're Falkirk Daft. For everyone who's caring about being a Falkirk Bear, we're Falkirk Daft. We are Falkirk Daft.